Hey everybody, it's Ted Prodromou, and it's another Epic Encore interview. And this week we have a really interesting guest that has a law practice. And I met you, gosh, it must have been 10 years ago we met originally.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then three
easy
years
10
ago
years,
you started this
truthfully.
Hey Dad videos. I'm like, who's this attorney trying to do Hey Dad videos and get traction? And David Pissarro has gotten some traction. Welcome.
Thanks, Ted. It's great to be here. It's been a fun 10 years as I've been chasing my dreams and serving dads and family court and trying to help them like understand what they're up against and how to like get more time with their kids. And what I found is that there's a real need for dads to have the tools to go into family court and also like about 6 months ago I started a Union of Dads meetup group, and we've got guys in there who are just they come together twice a month to just talk, and they just share what's going on because they're lonely, they're isolated, they lost their family, they lost their home, they're under attack in the courts, they're paying more money than they used to, and all of a sudden they're like, what do I do? And we're bringing them together and they're talking. So it's
That's
it's been a real
awesome.
fun experience.
As we were talking before we went live here about men are feel isolated and lonely all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, so often they abdicate their social responsibility to their wife or girlfriend. So many men labor under the belief of happy wife, happy life, which I just rail against. I think that's a horrible phrase. I think it sets up a power dynamic and an expectation that's completely inappropriate
Yeah.
because it should be happy spouse, happy house. Each party should be working to make the other one happy. And the reality should be the understanding that you can't make someone else happy. You have to be happy within yourself first,
Yeah.
and then you can have a happy household.
All of our friends are basically, when our kids went to school, we met other parents.
Right.
And a lot of them have retired and moved away now. But my wife still keeps in touch with nurses that she worked with 35 years ago.
Sure.
Or I will go back and look at the beginning of my career or any job I've had, trying to find coworkers. I can't find them on LinkedIn. I can't find them on Facebook. Like, what happened to these hundreds of people I was close with 30
Right.
years ago?
Because we have that sort of trench warfare mentality. We're in the battle of corporate restructuring or corporate going out and slaying the dragons, and then it falls apart because it's not supported by any kind of socializing outside of that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you come up with this idea to do these? They're like 1 minute videos you started with, right?
So it's originally started off as Union of Dads. I just wanted to bring together dads, and I was doing some educational. My very first videos about, I don't know, 3 years ago now, maybe even four. Um, they were just educational on here's what domestic violence is, here's divorce, here's how you handle the law. Kind of dry, kind of boring. It seems to be like the pattern of my life. I start things off dry and then I get more animated into who I am as a person. And somewhere along the line, I just did this. I was at an IHOP in Inglewood, and it was a Saturday morning, and the sun was coming up, and I just had this like weird idea to like go do this. Hey, Dad, I don't know if anybody's told you lately, but you're awesome. Have a great day. That was it, and that took off, and it became this thing of Hey, Dad, and sort of like inspirational, motivational stuff to dads, which has morphed into my dad's law school, where I'm now more educational on the dad's law school stuff with a hey dad, here's what's going on in your life, here's what's happening in family court, here's how you get more time with your kids. So it's kind of morphed over the last 3 years, 4 years.
Hmm.
But they're still wildly popular. Those hey dad, you're just doing great. Nobody ever tells you this. Thank you. Are still really popular.
Oh, yeah. Nobody ever says anything nice to us, right? We just work our ass off. And
Sadly, that's really very true. I've got a text group where dads they're just part of my text group, and I don't know, once or 4 times a week, they'll get a random text out of the blue that's like, "Hey, you know, time to like go thank yourself in the mirror for all the good things you do, and remember that you're really a big contributor to your family,
yeah,
and thank you for doing that."
yeah.
or something along those lines, just to remind them because they don't get that. You get home and what are you told? You didn't take the trash out. You loaded the dishwasher the wrong way. You're folding the towels the wrong way. Why isn't the lawn mowed? And why don't you spend more time with the family?
Right.
Like, A, you're not doing what I want you to do when you're here, and B, you're not here enough.
Right. And you're not making enough money.
Well, you're never making enough money. Nobody ever made enough money.
You have like an
Except for
endless supply of content.
maybe Melinda and Bill. They might have made enough money, but I'm not sure.
It's hard to tell. I just saw the
I can
top.
see where she has some comments.
Yeah. Bill's way down on the list now of the billionaires.
Isn't he? Scary. It's really kind of scary.
It is.
When
Uh,
you look at the numbers, it's like, good Lord, how can that much money be in one person or
and
that much
what are you
value?
going to do with it?
You know. But anyways, things to aspire to.
So you've kind of expanded. You did a boot camp this last week. Tell us
I
about
did.
that.
I've got Dad's Badass Boot Camp. It's a one-day event to teach dads how to represent themselves in family court. So on one day, we start with the first part of the morning is kind of some esteem building. What makes you a great father? Why are you a wonderful human being? Let's rebuild a lot of that ego that kind of gets destroyed in breakups and divorces.
Hmm.
Let's see the positive things about you because you've probably heard a lot about the negative, and
Right.
it's time to like let's just counterbalance that a little bit. Like you're probably not as bad as you're being told. And then we get into the basics of how to now fashion that for the court to tell the judge that you're a good guy. What do you know about your family? What do you know about your children? And then is there external discovery we need to get? School records, business records, bank records, medical records. So we go over how to do discovery.
Yeah.
And then we kind of meld those two of how to tell the court you're a good guy with the discovery we've just collected in an evidence part of here's how you actually use that piece of evidence at court. And it's literally like, Your Honor, I'd like to mark and identify plaintiff's exhibit one. Like
Mhm.
literally having them practice that phrasing so that when they go into court, they know what they're doing. It's not an unusual thing for them.
Right.
So they're less likely to get flustered and then get frustrated and then act out with anger and say something stupid. And the judge is going to look at them and be like, I don't know if you should be around children.
Right.
But if you're going in and you're calm and you're cool and you're collected and you're like, Your Honor, I'd like to plaintiff's exhibit one, Your Honor, plaintiff's exhibit 43, and Your Honor, I object hearsay, I object lack of foundation. All of a sudden the game has changed. And all of a sudden the judge is looking at you differently. And
That's
so
really interesting.
it was a good one day boot camp to like kind of get dads a little more familiar with family court. And everybody had a great time. There were some good videos that I played and just to get people motivated and ready to go. And they all walked out feeling a little bit more empowered. And that's the goal.
Yeah. This is what you're going to go through. This take you through the scenarios.
Exactly.
Otherwise, how many times do fathers go into these courts? They know nothing about the court.
Right. No,
Like I
no.
said, the other attorney is going to trigger you to say something and go off the handle, and then the judge is going to say, you don't get the kids.
It may not even be the other attorney. It may be your ex. Like
Right.
they know how to push those buttons.
Oh, yeah. I've been married for almost 40 years. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, she's got a full keyboard with you.
Yeah. I've got mine, but it doesn't work as well as hers.
Right.
So do you represent people in court or you're helping these fathers prepare for themselves?
I do represent people. I've been a lawyer for 26 years, representing dads going into family court. I still do that. My law partner still does that. I'm kind of backing off of that as I'm building up this dad's law school because the goal is to help more dads at scale.
Hmm.
It's great if I can help somebody one on one, but it's time consuming for me. It's expensive for them. And I'm not doing anything at scale. So if I can get 20 guys or 50 guys in a room and teach them what they need to know, so now I'm affecting 20 or 50 families versus one.
Right.
And that's really where my heart is, truthfully. I'd rather do this at scale and help more families and have more kids see their father more. Because it's a real problem. The lack of fathers in children's lives leads to a horrendous amount of bad outcomes.
Yeah.
Lower school scores, higher drug abuse, higher self-cutting, low self-esteem, higher criminal behavior, earlier onset of sexual behavior. It's just all kinds of bad things for both boys and girls. They
Yeah.
both need their fathers as role models. And if we don't do something to change that, because there's been a real shift in our society to kind of push dads out of the parenting role and make
Hmm.
them just a provider, we're going to start seeing some really negative effects over the long haul.
Yeah. Yeah. You think both parents are usually working really long hours.
These days, that's you almost certainly in a state like California. I think it's very rare that you see a one income family.
Yeah.
You know,
I remember the
both parties
days.
have to be contributing in some way.
Yeah. I remember the days where I had worked to like 30 miles from home and it was like hour and a half drive home a lot of times in the afternoons.
Yeah,
You have to get the kids by 6 p.m. or it's $1 a minute fine. This was like
right.
30 years ago.
Yeah,
So you're like stressed, racing to get there by 6 p.m. and you 5 minutes late, then you gotta go to the ATM and get money out.
exactly.
It was just, it was hell. And we had, we didn't have any problems. It was just, we worked really well together to who can get there first.
Right.
But I just watching my daughter now. She's got two young kids, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and they work from home for the most part. My daughter goes in now 4 days a week, but she's only like 10 miles away. But there's the stress they're under just to provide and make enough money, and it's just so expensive.
Everything is more expensive.
Yeah,
And that's one of the other things that I see is a real problem with these single family households. It's what are we doing with these single parent households? It's
yeah.
not good because as a consequence of that, you've got dad in one apartment, mom in another apartment. So we've got two cable bills, two utility bills, two dishwashing bills, two laundry bills. So there's less available resources for the children overall.
Hmm.
The lower standard of living is for everybody
Yeah. I don't know how single parents do it.
badly. They
Yeah.
do it badly, truthfully.
We notice like with really young children, a lot of parents just hand them an iPad or their phone
Yeah.
and watch videos while they're in a restaurant or something. Or
Oh, I can't stand
we
that.
have one friend that their son and daughter give the kid an iPad. She's like 5. Instead of reading stories to her at night, they give her an iPad and she goes to bed watching videos
Yeah.
while they go off and watch their own videos in the other room. It's like, are you kidding me?
Not uncommon.
Yeah.
Not uncommon.
And we're so proud of my daughter and her husband. Like, they don't do screen time with the kids at all.
Yeah.
He'll get like 15 minutes a day after he takes his nap, maybe something like
Right.
that. But very limited. I turned on the TV the other day to watch the football game. He goes, why does Papu have the TV on?
Yeah.
So it's really refreshing to see them go the other direction with it.
It is because most people don't do that these days. It's one of the problems we run into oftentimes is the conflict between parenting styles.
Yeah,
And it's perceived that, well, mom's is automatically the better parenting style. Well, that's not necessarily true.
right. It's survival of the fittest at this point.
Yeah,
Just
very
trying
much
to
so.
get by.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have a new book coming out, you said?
I do. The dad's child custody action plan is coming out. At this moment, we're shooting for March 1st. So I got another 5 weeks to go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in that last phase of like final edits, final like tweaks on every little thing, starting to get the promotion going. And it's
Yeah,
designed to give dads, here's exactly what you need to give the judge to get what you want.
right.
You're not going to get everything you want, but you're going to get more of what you want by showing the judge why you're a great dad, how you're a great dad, what you've thought about things like the logistics of parenting, the
Mm-hmm.
logistics of where you live, mom lives, where the kids go to school, that you have the resources available. to take care of the children because oftentimes dads go into court and they don't think about this. They just walk into court and they're like, Your Honor, I'm a great dad. Give me my 50% custody. Well, you haven't really told the judge anything with that
Right.
because shockingly, everyone who ever walks into family court is a great parent. So now you're all just on an even playing field. Now what's going to set you apart?
Right.
And that's where you have to come in with here are the tools, here are the resources, here's what I know about my kids, which are all the things we teach in Dad's Law School, whether it's the online course, the boot camp, or now in printed form with the book.
Yeah. That's awesome. So how do people get in touch with you?
It's dadslawschool.com. You just go check it out, and it's designed to be a very straightforward, easy to remember URL that says exactly what it is. It's I'm dealing with dads, and I'm going to teach you law.
Yeah, very clear who you're helping and what you do. And you're on Instagram and on YouTube and
We've got it's the same thing everywhere, whether it's on my TikTok or the YouTube channel for both shorts and long versions. I've got long videos that kind of explain what's going on, and like 3 tips to how to communicate to the judge. When are you going to make your first impression? And then we've got the same thing on Instagram. It's all
yeah.
at Dad's Law School.
And then you have the community where people can get together and
So
meet
that's our
other
monthly
fathers.
membership of Dad's Law School. It's $97 a month, and that includes the monthly meetups. It includes email support, a WhatsApp group, all of our video courses for child custody action plan, evidence, discovery, contempt. There's a ton of good material there designed to help dads get ready for court.
That's awesome. Hope I
Thanks.
never need your services though.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to at this point. It's pretty. I'd put money on you going the distance right now.
Nah, my kids are long gone. They're grown and out of the house. Well, Dave, it's great catching up with you. I love what you're doing.
Thank you, Ted. It's great seeing you too. Look forward to seeing you in September.
Okay, see ya.
Cheers.